Hello, and yes, welcome back to the GB News election watch party here in Essex. Everyone has been gripped by your footage on the live screen as well. I'm joined on my left by Lord Bailey, Sean Bailey, Tory peer. We've also just got some wonderful GB News viewers and listeners here. Sean, I will start by saying to you, a challenging evening for you, isn't it? What do you make of this so far?
I'll repeat again, there's no sugarcoating. This is a devastating night for the Tories. I think my personal angle will be there's a lot of good Tory MPs who will now be cast out, who would actually deliver what the country wanted if they were asked. I think what's important here is when you look at Reform's results, their share of the vote will be important because that will dictate a lot of the conversation that the Tory party then has internally. It may give some Tory MPs the confidence to move, to the right, and have some more conversation that ordinary people would recognise. I think that will be important. But also, Keir Starmer will have to look at his vote share and what Reform has done to that in order to steer himself forward.
Yeah, I mean, where did this rot set in for you, Sean? Who is to blame for this result this evening for the Tories?
I think there's a number of things to say. When you've been in government for 14 years, it's hard to carry that weight for a long time. One of the things that Keir Starmer and all his new MPs will find out is government is very difficult. The other thing is, I think there's been a number of events along the way. We needed to deliver more. We needed to tell our own story more. Getting rid of Boris was an act of self-harm, as far as I could see.
Just on that, I know that some people's views on Boris Johnson have perhaps changed a little bit over time, but could I just get a little bit of a straw poll by virtue of noise in this room? Who preferred Boris to Rishi? So if you preferred Boris, okay. If you preferred Rishi, not a sausage. The Labour voter over there put his hand up, so I think that maybe tells you everything you need to know. Yeah. Okay. Now I've just got some people around me here. So you've got a microphone in front of you. Is there anything you'd particularly like to ask Sean, or any observations that you'd be keen to make about what the results are so far?
I think that a government can lock people in their homes and shut down businesses. It shouldn't be allowed. Okay. It's just too much. I think that no government should have that much power.
So ever since that happened, because now conceivably we've got a stonking majority of a party that wanted to do that for longer and harder, Sean.
I mean, look, Keir Starmer, for many people, he would have been perceived as making the wrong calls. He wanted to do more lockdowns and for longer. But actually, this is one of the problems of being in government. The whole political class virtually was in favour of that. And I think one of the problems with a supermajority is you feel like you have a big mandate, but Keir Starmer will have to remember he represents a broad set of people, even people who didn't vote for him. So that's going to be his challenge, to make sure that he doesn't just do what his activists want, but what the country wants.
Yeah, everything now is about to become his problem, right? And all of these issues that it's been very easy to sit on the sidelines and snipe about and moan about, he's now going to have to try to deal with and overcome. It remains to be seen if he can do that. Could I just ask you here, what's been the biggest issue for you at this election? Is there anything you'd like to ask Sean, have a chat with him about at all?
Well, I'm a small business owner based in the East Midlands. I am scared for tomorrow. I've read the Labour manifesto today about all around employment and stuff, and it's going to change. And it's changed because of big business. They're going to bring the unions back in, but it's going to affect us little employers. I employ 8 people, and I'm frightened for tomorrow. So, Sean, I was going to ask you, who do you think now can bring this Conservative Party back in this next Parliament?
Good, all right. So this is the next leader question, isn't it? Go on.
I think there's 2 things to say. I think first and foremost, the Conservative Party is going to have to do some soul searching. Are we going to move to the left? Are we going to move to the right? Who's going to be the leader? And I think there's some things we need to consider. We need to consider being a voice for real conservatism. Somebody said to me tonight, are you upset about loss? Of course I am. But what I'm more upset about is the loss of conservatism. Conservatism is a broad church. It's for working people. It's for small business. The whole political class has become a bit obsessed with big business. Let's go back to small business. You are our country's employers. You employ many more people. But if the Conservatives can have a conversation about fundamentally what's going on, then we can come back. Because the key thing about the Reform vote, to labour the point, is that it is a protest vote because the country is hurting and we have to provide those answers.
Can I just ask you before I come to this gentleman here, do you feel as though you're paying as much tax as you can at the moment?
Oh yeah, and I know that I'm going to be paying more from tomorrow. I know. They say that they're not going to put the tax up, but they're going to stealth tax us. They're going to make us pay for our energy bills for all this new green energy. They're going to put our road tax up. They're going to put tolls on our road. We're going to be just paying through the roof.
And I take it that you feel as though you absolutely can't afford that then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
it's
costs
been a really
jobs.
hard year.
That costs jobs. It looks good when you ramp up taxes because you think you're getting money to exchequer, but what employers do, they have to cut the biggest expense, and that's always people. It will cost jobs.
Okay. Now, sir, are there any key points that you'd like to make about this election so far from what we've seen, or to put to Sean, just fire away, really?
Yeah, I mean, Sean is the only politician around the table. I should just say I'm David from Basildon, and my dad worked in a factory, but he wasn't a toolmaker.
Hey, there you go. I was wondering when we were going to get a toolmaker joke, and it's taken us until about 1 o'clock in the morning. There we are.
He made tractors, and if I can actually prove it. So what I really want to ask, and Sean's the only politician around the table, is can we trust Keir Starmer? Because he sits there with his sad face and says, people laugh when I say my dad was a tool maker. And I looked it up and I fact checked it. He owned a tool factory. So why is he lying on that? He doesn't understand why people laugh. If you look up tool and the definition, it's not a very nice one.
It's
at
not.
best, it's a foolish person who's controlled by others.
And we won't go into what it could be at worst. But I think you're making a point there about whether or not he can be trusted, because his stigma is he's flip-flopped on a lot of different things, hasn't he?
Look, I go back to
So
point.
can I just put, so is he a liar, a fool? All of those, but also, I think on the Tories, I was watching a TV programme today and there was a quote, betrayal never comes from the enemy. And the Tories betrayed their voters.
So let me do both of them. So firstly,
All right.
if you talk about the Tories, I think in many ways we abandon our core beliefs, and that's what people hold on to. You vote Tory with your head. And a lot of the Tories, I mean, I spoke to a young boy, I'll give it to you today, and he said a lot of Conservative MPs think Twitter is politics. And the mistake they made was abandoning our beliefs. You know, we believe in a country, believe in hard work, we believe in low taxes. Where was that in Parliament? So in many respects, I couldn't argue with you that the public feel betrayed. When you talk about Keir Starmer, I go back to Patrick's point. He's about to learn. It's very easy to sit on the sidelines and poke fun. What's he going to do? And I'll give you one example of that. He talked about his border force. His border force will be fully ineffective because unless you have a relationship with the country where the people come from, you can deliver no change. And I say that because I think he's sincere, right? But I don't think he understands. And I hope to high heaven for all of our sakes that he can deliver, but I worry that he can't.